We're glad and I'm honored and privileged to be able to introduce Miss Tennessee to you all today here at Anderson County Career and Technical Center, Paige Clark. Paige is the governor's spokesperson for character education. She is a nurse at East Tennessee Children's Hospital, so she's just a normal person, just like all of us in this room day by day, and currently a doctoral student at John Hopkins University. So please welcome Paige Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So my normal rundown, that was basically all about me, my introduction. I will say one more thing that I like to throw in for my older kids is that if anybody's ever been to Pigeon Forge, I was a professional clogger for 4 years during undergrad. So if you've ever been to the Comedy Barn Theater or Hatfield and McCoy Dinner Feud or any of the other dinner theaters in Pigeon Forge, that is what I did while I was in my undergrad program. So that's one thing that I love to do, and that's actually my talent at Miss Tennessee, is to be a clogger. So other than that, this is kind of a different talk than what I'm used to, just because I am the governor's spokesperson for character education, so each Miss Tennessee gets to pick her own character trait. And I usually talk to elementary schoolers. So every now and again I will venture out into middle school and high school. And since I am a nurse, I do love to talk about my time in undergrad, my time currently in grad school, also what it feels like to be out in the workforce, and just any questions that you all have. This is a very open conversation. I don't want to be the only one talking in here for the next 30 minutes, so if you all have any questions at all, just please let me know. I do know, so let's see, raise your hand if you're in nursing, the part of this. Okay, health science, yes, health science. Great, and then my culinary friends are over here. Okay, perfect. Listen, I do love some good food. I love to eat. So, I'm just going to talk about a little bit of my time in high school, because I know a lot of people are wondering what are good things to do in high school to kind of build up your resume, to get ready for life after high school, whether that is going into a trade school, whether that's going to a university, whether that's wanting to pursue your doctorate, whatever you want to do after high school. Education is so important, and I value every single type of education, whether it's a certificate for a job that you're learning, whether it's getting the highest honors at a top-rated university. I respect and value all types of education, and just you wanting to further yourself and wanting to better yourself, I respect that, and I'm really excited for you all because this is such an interesting age. The world's your oyster. You can literally do anything you want, and I don't feel like I valued that enough in high school, because I thought, okay, I'm in high school. Honestly, I didn't like high school. I really hated it. I played basketball, but I didn't really feel like I fit in or had many friends. So I wish I had taken the time in high school to value myself a little bit more and just to think about my future a little bit, because I really didn't start thinking about what I wanted to do in life until after I was well in college. So, some things that we can do. I'm going to start off with just my time in high school. I was very involved. I think a good thing to do for your resumes, whatever you want to do in life, is to be involved. Is anybody else involved in school other than just being in class? Are we involved in any clubs or anything like that? You are? HOSA, okay, yes. Are you in HOSA as well? What do you do? You play football, okay, yes, athletes. How many athletes do we have in here? Football? Okay. I play basketball and softball, so I'm very big on sports. I know I wear a crown and wear makeup and fancy clothes, but I'm an athlete at heart. So anybody else want to share their clubs that they're in? Okay, that's okay. So I was, I love feedback. My elementary schoolers this morning, they were talking my heads off, so y'all need to talk too. So a couple things that I did was, I wasn't in HOSA, but I was very well aware of it. I played sports. I was also in student government, and I stayed after school, and I was in like a STEM, science and math type after school program. So anything that you can do outside of the traditional classroom setting, I know that's not in everyone's case, but if you are able and you are determined and willing to do something like that, I think that looks great on resumes. It's been a talking point in any interview that I've been in years past. They always look at your resume and they say, okay, hey, tell me about your time in HOSA. Or, hey, on the football field. What's a time that you've overcome a struggle on the football field? How have you overcome mental blocks of being on the football field? Job interviews and people asking questions like that, they will dive deep into that. And that is a main focus. And if you love football, it's a great talking point in an interview. So just being involved in school, that's one of the main things that I like to drive home. In college, does anybody want to go to like a university or a trade school, anything like that? What are our career goals? I'd like to hear some of your all's career goals.
Military power lineman.
Okay. Military power lineman?
No, military or.
Military or power lineman. Those are two big fields.
Go to UT and be an anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist, okay. Anybody else want to share? I love feedback. Physical therapy, okay. Cardiologist. Okay, we're naming some big ones over here. Anybody else? We have culinary students. Are you all in culinary just because it's a hobby or you want to actually become a chef? I don't know much about that, so I'm not sure about what the process is. I know several people who went to culinary school. Is it just a hobby? We just like to cook? I like to.
I like pretty good food.
You get to eat what you cook? Okay, that's even better. I should have taken culinary in high school. I took art class. Definitely cannot eat the art that you do. So, that's awesome. Anybody else want to tell me their career? Mr. Football, I want to know what you want to be. Physical therapist. Okay, lots of people want to go into the health field, which is what I know all about. So my time in undergrad, so I went to the University of Tennessee, graduated in 2017. I went through their BSN program, which is a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. Your first 2 years, you focus in more of the classes that everyone takes, chemistry, science, calculus, all the gross things. And then your last 2 years, you actually get into your nursing courses and you get to train in the hospital and become a nurse. But I do have lots of friends that are in medical school right now. I am in my doctorate program at Johns Hopkins, but I'm going to be a nurse practitioner. So it's not up there as a provider, like I'm not going to be a medical doctor, but I will be a nurse practitioner, which is what we call a mid-level provider. So I do still have my own patients and I will prescribe medications, but I work alongside a doctor to help him with his patients. And that's the career path I chose because I thought medical school, the MCAT and everything, that intimidated me so much. And I knew that I loved bedside and I loved interacting with people. I loved children. So I decided to be a nurse and then become a nurse practitioner. So that's a little bit about my career. But in undergrad, when you all get there, if that's the path you want to choose, be involved as you can. I know school's going to be stressful. I know there's going to be times where you're like, this is so much going on. But really, dive deep, make good friends, be involved in programs. I was involved in, my freshman year, I walked on to the women's rowing team. So I was on the women's rowing team my freshman year. And so I loved being a part of that and made some good friends. And then also through nursing school, I was a part of Student Nurses Association. I was on their executive board. And then also I was an ambassador for the university. So being involved, like again, job applications, job interviews, they're going to ask things like that. They're going to ask you questions about your time in school. Start thinking now about one interview tip that I like to give out is go ahead and start thinking about the basic things, like what's your favorite aspect about yourself? What's your least favorite aspect about yourself? What is one area of your life you wish you could change? What is a time in your life that you had a roadblock and you got over it? It can apply to, I have been asked all those questions in pageant and in job world. So just go ahead and start thinking about that for your interview. I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but when things come to my head, I just want to say them, even though they're off topic. But staying involved in undergrad is a big proponent of excelling in life outside of undergrad. And if you can't be involved, that is completely okay. I'm not up here to tell you, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this to be successful, you need to be point A to point B to be successful. Everyone has their own path in life, and if you just go to school and that's all you want to do, you're still going to be successful. I'm just telling you some tips and tricks that helped me. So after undergrad, I became a nurse at East Tennessee Children's Hospital, currently working on a 30-bed medical surgical unit, which means that I take care of anyone from 1 day old all the way up to 21 years old, anything that they come with in the hospital. So that could be dehydration, they could be super sick from the PICU, they could be on a ventilator, they could have a trach, stomach issues, surgery, really anything I take care of. And that's really taught me a lot of life lessons, and I absolutely love the career field that I've chosen, and I'm so glad that I'm talking to health science students because, oh, and also culinary. I love you all too. But I love my health science people because I feel like we're all on the same wavelength. So I love being a nurse, and my time at Children's Hospital has been so valuable. Has anybody, let's see, you all would still come to the hospital. Has anybody ever been admitted to Children's Hospital at all? You have? Okay. I was about to ask what's wrong, but you don't have to tell me that.
I had heart surgery.
Okay. Wow. That's actually what I want to do. I want to specialize in cardiology with my doctorate degree, so I'm really interested in cardiology. But yeah, if you ever get sick and have to be admitted, you will probably see me because you'll probably be on my floor. So that's my time as a nurse at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. If you have specific questions about that, I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. And then jumping to right now, I am in grad school at Johns Hopkins University. It's an online program, which is 4 years long. Johns Hopkins is in Baltimore. I was actually in Baltimore last week for my finals because I have to go up there to take my finals, but everything else is online. So I'm in my doctorate degree. I'll be a pediatric nurse practitioner. I'm halfway done. I'm in my second year, so I've got 2 more. And some things that I want to do with that degree, like I said, I want to go into cardiology. I'd love to go into surgery. I want to be a first assist. So you have the big surgeon who spends 1,000,000 years in school, and then what I can do as a first assist is be his other set of hands operating in the surgery, which takes me a lot less school than he has to go through. So that's something that I want to be in life, and I'm still learning like you all. I go to school every day, and I'm still trying to figure out who I want to be. And then Miss Tennessee came along, was not expecting to win. I went to Miss Tennessee as Miss Knoxville, and there was 36 other girls, so if any of my girls are interested in pageants or being on stage or anything like that, highly recommend it. I won $15,000 for being Miss Tennessee, so that's a good way to pay for school, especially when you go to a very expensive school like me. I think my doctorate degree is costing me $250,000. That's a big number. Paige does not have that kind of money, so pageants has definitely opened the door for scholarship money. You also get scholarship money when you do a pageant, like if you have the best grades, you get a scholarship. If you have the best talent, you get a scholarship. If you have the most community service, you get a scholarship. There's so many opportunities through pageants, so if any of my girls are interested, highly recommend it. But now that Miss Tennessee is here, and I'm working towards Miss Volunteer America, which is next June, and I get to spend the rest of the year being the governor's spokesperson for character education. So like I said, talking to elementary schools most of my life, but other things that I get to do is I get to meet a lot of cool people. Last summer, well this past summer, I was at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, so I got to meet a bunch of influential people in the sports world. Got to meet Philip Fulmer, I've met Peyton Manning, I know Dolly Parton, so I get to meet all kinds of cool people. But honestly, my favorite part is coming to speak to you guys because this is where I feel like I'm in my element. I get super nervous when I get around famous people, but I love talking to you all because the world is your all's oyster. So I just wanted to open up the floor. If you all have any questions for me at all, anything about my life, well, to an extent, but I just want to talk to you guys. I want to have a conversation. So please don't be shy, because this will be really awkward if I stop talking and everyone just looks at me.
I'd say something, but I don't got any questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, but at least thank you for talking.
Yeah, no, it looks like everyone's working at the gas station. What really drove you to be a nurse?
What drove me to be a nurse? So, when I was okay, first of all, before I answer that question, I keep on kicking my feet around. It is cold outside. If you see my socks under my heels, Please don't think I'm weird. My feet are freezing. So I just wanted a side note because I don't want you all to be like, what are those tie-dye socks? I'm a normal person, okay? So what drove me to be a nurse? When I was in elementary school, my family adopted a newborn baby from a drug-addicted mother. He was in what we call NAS, which is neonatal abstinence syndrome. So he was withdrawing from methadone, he was withdrawing from oxycodone, methamphetamines, the whole 9 yards when he was born. And he spent the first 3 years of his life in the hospital and the first year of his life in the NICU. So he had open heart surgery twice, Kawasaki disease. He spent a year battling that, which is just a disease where you run super high temperatures, like up to 105 degrees, and you break out in a very serious rash, and it's just very, very sick little babies. So he was admitted to Children's Hospital, which is obviously where I work now, and just seeing how my family handled that, how the nurses treated our family, how that they made a difference in our lives and they were making a difference in his life, that's what drove me to be a nurse. And I knew that I wanted to be a provider. I wanted to be a nurse practitioner, so that's why I chose nursing, because when you're in medical school, no offense to my people that want to be doctors, love you all are so smart, but they have the reputation of not having the best bedside manners, and they're not very personable people. That you all have that reputation, not saying that everyone's like that, but I knew that being a nurse would give me the bedside skills. I knew that I loved being around people. I obviously loved talking to people and just being hands-on every day at the hospital and getting to heal babies through my hands. I love that. I love that aspect of being a nurse. And actually the scrubs that I wear are called healing hands, and right under the tag it says, "You have healing hands." And that really sticks with me. That's my motto through my nursing career. I love that aspect of being a nurse. So thank you for that question. Any more?
Didn't you do something before Miss Tennessee? Like a different kind of pageant, like Miss Lexington was it?
Okay, so there's 3 Miss Tennessees. So I'm Miss Tennessee Volunteer, and then you have Miss Tennessee USA, and then you have Miss Tennessee America. And so pageant world, there's 3 Miss Tennessees, and we all go to a different national pageant. So one goes to Miss USA, one goes to Miss America, and the other goes to Miss Volunteer America. Miss Lexington was Lauren Dixon, who is Miss Tennessee America now. So she's one of the Miss Tennessees that travels across the country. So she was Miss Lexington. I was Miss Knoxville. So yes, I am impressed that you know about pageants.
Well, we can do a little bit of research.
Okay, yeah. So if you typed in Miss Tennessee, you're either going to get Paige Clark, you're going to get Lauren Dixon, or you're going to get Emily Suttle. So there's three of us, and we all go to different pageants. So like Miss USA does swimsuit and evening gown and an interview. Miss America does, they do a social impact speech, so they speak for a couple minutes on stage. They have an interview, and they do their talent. The pageant that I'm in, I do swimsuit, I do evening gown, talent, and then my interview. So each competition has its kind of own things. So yes, I did not know you all looked up about Miss Tennessee, so that is fascinating. But yes, you'll either get one of those 3 names. So, any other questions? Yeah.
When you won the pageant, did you really call your dog?
Yes, I did. When I got back to the hotel, I got to my, okay, you all looked up that interview. Oh my goodness, yes, that interview I did not know was going to end up on Yahoo News, so that was great. But yes, when I got to my hotel at 2 a.m., I did FaceTime my dog. My brother was at home because he stayed at home to take care of my dog while my parents and I were gone to Miss Tennessee, and I did FaceTime him because he sat in my living room. And while I was like doing my model walk and while I was practicing my clogging, he would just sit there and watch me. So I had to call him and tell him I won because you have to. You have to. And he watches me now as I prepare for Miss Volunteer America. I was walking last night, practicing my runway walk, and he was sitting there watching me. Wow, these are good questions. No one's ever asked me that before. Any other ones?
Did you go to school around here?
Yes, I did. Born and raised in Knoxville. I went to Southville High School, which comes up here to play Anderson County sometimes in the Christmas tournament. So I came up here, I was a shooting guard. So I was the one that stood in the corner and just waited for some screens and the ball pass to shoot a corner three. So that's what I did. I actually scored a game-winning three. Let's see, if you're looking at the court this way, on the left corner, we were playing Gibbs, and it was 3 seconds left, and I made a three to win. So this school has a fun place in my heart.
What type of dog do you have?
A Great Pyrenees. Yes, he's about 145 pounds. He's like big. Yes, he's just a big poof. Like if you ever look up a Great Pyrenees, they are the biggest, fluffiest. They look like a ball of snow.
They're protective. I almost saw an attack by like 3 of them on my road.
He is very protective, and I am his person, and he is my person. I call him a person. So he's very protective. He does not like anybody coming into our house.
Is your plan whenever you finish your doctoral degree, is it to be outside of the hospital world in the office world, doctor's office?
So I have lots of options that I'm trying to sort through right now. I can either work in a primary care setting, just as you come in for your normal checkups and sick visits. I can do that, or I can work in the hospital as a hospitalist, or I can go into education, which is something that I am going to do. Johns Hopkins has a special program that if you dedicate yourself to be a teacher for 4 years, they'll pay for 85% of your school. So there's definitely opportunities like that out there to pay for school. So when I graduate in 2025, I will be a professor, probably at the University of Tennessee. So if anybody goes to nursing school at the University of Tennessee, you'll probably have me as a professor in a few years. But I'll for sure be a teacher, and then I'd like to actually practice medicine on the side, part-time, probably in a clinic.
What's your favorite part about being a nurse?
Favorite part about being a nurse? Besides the actual nursing part and loving on kids, interacting with kids, I love the atmosphere of night shift. So I'm a night shift nurse. So I work 7P to 7A. So I'm up all night long. And nurses work three to 4 days a week. So work all night long. I have loved the people that I've met. If you know anything about nursing, you know that there's a stigma between night shift and day shift. Day shift is like your type A people that are lists and scribbling and running around and like telling people what to do. Night shift is so chill. Like we sit there and we were playing nursing obviously is a fast-paced and crazy environment, but there are a few moments that you get to sit and have a conversation with your coworkers. And we call this game called like Hello, Can You DSAT, which is a game that we have, the pulse ox monitors that you put on and read your oxygen levels. We were seeing who could hold their breath the longest to make it drop the most. So I love the atmosphere of night shift. Do not do that, please. Don't do that. We are crazy. You hit that wall at 3 a.m. and you're delirious and you don't really know what's going on and you're just trying to make it the next 4 hours. But I love the atmosphere of night shift. I definitely recommend if anybody wants to work overnight, definitely do it. It's better than working in the middle of the day. Anybody else?
You go to UT, right?
I did go to UT.
All
Mhm.
the parties.
I was, okay.
I'm just purely curious.
Okay, I will say, and this is like honest on the Bible, I've never been to a college party.
For real?
For real, like on the Bible. Like I've never been to a college party. I worked, so backstory, my grandfather left my grandmother, he left a note on the counter my freshman year of college and said, "Hey, I'm leaving you." After 49 years of marriage, he was having an affair with his first wife for 15 years and went and remarried his first wife and left my grandmother after 49 years of marriage. Her house was in foreclosure, and my parents were already tied up in their own bills and everything like that because my dad had some health issues. So when I was 18, I bought her house. so she didn't go homeless. So I actually worked 60 to 70 hours a week. So dancing at the Comedy Barn in Hatfield and McCoy. So I was at school for school and school only, and then as soon as my classes were over, I drove to Pigeon Forge to go to work. So that is why. So
That's pretty cool.
so a lot of people ask me about college life outside of school, and I really didn't have one. I didn't have a life in undergrad because I was so consumed with working and trying to pay for my grandmother's house, which is the house that I still live in today. So I'm happy to still have it. But yes, I did go to football games and stuff like that, but other than that, I was not at school.
Gotcha.
What would you do if you weren't doing nursing?
If I wasn't in nursing, I would really, there's two jobs that I would really love to do. I'd want to be a meteorologist and be on TV, like pointing at the green screen. I think that's fascinating. And then other than that, I would be an astronaut. Like, I want to go to space. I think that is so cool. Hate physics though. So my first physics class in high school, I said, nope, this is not for me. Sorry, astronaut dream shattered. So those are maybe my two careers. But if it had to be non-school related, I would want to be an actress because I've been an extra in a couple films. And then if you all know College Bowl, NBC rebooted the College Bowl game show season 2's aired this fall, but 2 years ago I represented the University of Tennessee out on NBC's College Bowl that Peyton Manning and Cooper Manning hosted. So there was a team of 3 for the University of Tennessee, and I got to win $10,000 off of that game show. So that also paid for school. So if I wasn't academic or anything academic, I would so be an actress. I think that's so fun.
How long have you been in school?
I've been in school, so I did, of course, you do the 12 years. Undergrad was 4 years, and then I'm in my second out of 4 of my doctorate. Yeah, thank you all for asking questions. Take 1 or 2 more before we take some pictures and I skidoo over to my next elementary school. It's kind of a shift from elementary school to high school back to elementary school. So take 1 or 2 more.
So you said you're like a second hand on surgery, right?
Yeah, that's what I want to be.
You want to be like orthopedics or what?
Cardiology.
Cardiology.
I would like to do the open heart surgeries on your neonates. So the ones that are born with holes in their hearts or need heart transplants or have an enlarged left ventricle, things like that. I'd love to assist on those surgeries.
What character trait do you speak about for the governor, and why did you choose that?
So I picked respect. I know there are so many character traits out there, and I have my elementary schoolers name them off. And we talk about like the dictionary definition of a character trait and whatnot. And I would think at your all's level that we pretty much have an idea of what character education is. But I picked respect just because when I am in any kind of academic setting, whether I'm talking to preschoolers or a couple weeks ago I did a presentation at the University of Tennessee, I think that message can apply to all areas of school, all areas of life. Even if I'm talking to some senior citizens at an assisted living, respect is something that you can carry with you every step of life. And I know that everyone knows what respect is. There's 3 areas that I talk about with my elementary schoolers. That's respect for yourself, respect for others, and respect for your things and other people's things. So just having respect for yourself. I know at this age it's with self-consciousness and the transition of having friends, losing friends, we might get down and out on ourselves, but I really love to hammer in the idea of respect for yourself because you all are so valuable. You all, I know that's a cliche saying that you're loved, you're valuable, you're cared for, but honestly that's true, and that starts with yourself. If you can't have respect for yourself, you can't have respect for others. So that's something that I love to talk about with my elementary and middle schoolers.
Did you always do pageants and always want to do pageants, or was it kind of just
Miss Tennessee was my second pageant ever. So I started doing pageants when I was 21. So I entered Miss Knoxville and then I won, and then I went to Miss Tennessee, and then they picked me. So no, I did not do pageants. I was not one of those toddlers in tiaras. I grew up very much a tomboy. I didn't own makeup until I was 18. So I was in the dirt. I was at the racetrack. I played basketball, baseball. My brother and I had lightsabers. We're big Star Wars nerds. So I'm definitely like a tomboy at heart. All right, one more, and then we'll take some pictures because I love pictures. My friends over here have been very quiet. I want to hear from someone over here.
Speak up.
How challenging was nursing school? I'm not gonna lie, it's strenuous. It's not a cakewalk. You're not just gonna go in and, oh, I don't even have to show up to class, because at that point it's optional to show up to class pretty much. Like, you have to have your own self-determination to show up to class. But you have to bunker down and study. It's not gonna be a cakewalk, but in the end, your professors are there for you to succeed, for you to be the best nurse you can be. And pretty much, yeah, everyone in my class graduated. So if you hunker down, if you actually care about school, I mean, you'll be fine. Don't worry if you're wanting to do nursing school. You all will be great.
One thing real quick, nurses, we have health science in here, we also have culinary. So how important, let's tie the two together, is dietary in the health science world?
They go hand in hand. We have, if you do like both culinary and nursing, there's a field called dietary. That, I know that's one word and that's very vague, but in the hospital we have nutritionists. So if you love the aspect of food and healthcare at the same time, being a nutritionist or working in dietary at a hospital is so very important, because those people actually come around to our floors every single day, and they visit with every patient, whether they're 1 day old all the way up to 21 days old, and they talk to you about, are you meeting your calorie needs? Okay, what can we do to get you more calories? What can we do to have a healthier lifestyle? Because if you aren't your healthiest, you're not going to heal as fast. So if you aren't eating enough, or if you don't take care of yourself like you should, your wounds, if you have a concussion, if you are sick with the flu, sick with COVID, anything like that, you're going to heal a lot slower than someone who is adequately nourished. So those two definitely go hand in hand. Nursing and culinary go hand in hand. So that's something that I've felt personally. Even if I'm sick and I'm not eating the way I should, I can tell I'm a lot sicker longer, because your body needs energy to heal and recuperate. So that's a field that a lot of people go into. And actually nurses, and I was working at the University of Tennessee a couple weeks ago, and the nutrition students and the nursing students were working on a case together. So people from the nutrition side of the school came over to the nursing building, and they were working on cases together with some type 1 diabetes patients that come in and are newly diagnosed. So they try to get each other on track. So nursing, the minds of nursing and the minds of culinary combined to help our patients.
How long, so I've had a couple concussions, and we're not really sure if it's really linked to anxiety or not. Do you know anything about that?
What precipitated your concussion?
Well,
What?
I've had quite a few. Some of them were mild, some of them were just minor.
Okay, like hitting your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like my arm or anything.
Okay,
but
so like not the anxiety causing.
Well, we don't know if it caused anxiety or not, because I never used to have it. I don't even. I
Oh,
haven't
so you're
even
saying
been diagnosed.
after your
After,
concussion,
yeah,
you're
if it's
having
linked to
anxiety.
it at all.
Okay.
So,
I am not a practicing medical provider right now, so I don't
Yeah.
want to give actual medical advice. But at this age, anxiety is a real thing, a very real thing. Even since I've been in high school, I feel like the elevation of anxiety has just escalated. So anxiety is something that is so complex. it's a beast in its own. And I know everyone, and even I have anxiety sometimes. And I've been to a doctor and a therapist and talked to them about that too. So if you're definitely struggling with something like that, reach out to somebody. I heard someone wanting to speak up over here. What's it like going to all the schools? It's exhausting, honestly. So I'm projected to speak to about 80,000 students this year, which is a lot of people. And I've already driven 12,000 miles as Miss Tennessee since I was crowned in June. So my Miss Tennessee car has a bunch of miles on it. But I love going to schools. I love talking. This is the job that you interview for. So when you go in to interview for Miss Tennessee Volunteer, they say, okay, what's your plan as the governor's spokesperson for character education? Like, what character trait are you going to pick? How are you going to impact people in Tennessee? So that's really the job that you are wanting to be. So everyone that competes for Miss Tennessee already has like that will that they want to be out in schools.
Do you ever wish that you wouldn't have went into the medical field?
Do I ever wish that I hadn't gone into the medical field? Yeah, you do have doubts. I think with any career that you choose, you're going to have like a split moment that you're like, I'm so overwhelmed. I did not know if I picked the right thing for me. I'm going to be stuck with this for the rest of my life, and I don't know if I picked the right path because I'm struggling right now. I'm having a bad day. I sent 3 people to the PICU, and one of them's intubated, and I have those days quite often at the hospital. And I think that's with any career, and I just ground myself. I think about why I became a nurse, and I kind of just sit in the supply closet, kind of take a deep breath and gather my thoughts and kind of just let a few tears out, because that is completely okay. And I just have to remind myself like why I became a nurse, and that pushes me through the day. And to know that my dog's home when I get home and I get to sleep with him all day. So
What's it like balancing your pageant life and your nursing life?
whew. Well, as a nurse now, I went PRN. So I don't work, after I won, I stopped working full time. So being a PRN nurse, I maybe work once a week, once every other week. So the hospital has been so very good to me since I've been crowned, and they said, we know you have other responsibilities. So I go to work when I can, when I'm in town. I actually work Thursday this week. So I go when I can. Obviously, I'm very dedicated to my patients, and I want to be there as much as I can. But I do know that I have some additional responsibilities this year, and I just try to do self-care, which is very important in your all's age. Very important.
Who were your biggest supporters during your pageant?
Other than my mom and dad, because, they're wonderful, I would say I had a director, so the girl that's over Miss Knoxville every single year, she was my right hand. She guided me through pageant life, because obviously I didn't grow up doing pageants, so she taught me a lot, and she was there every night cheering for me. So she's one of my favorite people. I actually spent the weekend with her. I was up in Union City designing some wardrobe for Miss Volunteer America, so she went with me, and we got to design some clothes together with a designer from New York.
Did you grow up clogging, or was it just kind of like you needed a talent? So you just
Oh no, I grew up clogging. Yes, I have been a clogger for over 20 years now. I started when I was 3. I started dancing when I was 3. That's the only type of dance I know how to do. So I don't know how to do ballet, don't know how to do tap, don't know how to do acrobats or lyrical, anything like that. I don't know how to do. I'm just a clogger. Did anybody watch the CMAs or watch SEC Network whenever Georgia came to play? Was it Georgia? No, it was the Alabama game. And the guy was clogging on SEC Network. Did you all see that? If you've never seen clogging before, that's what clogging is. So, if I didn't have my heels on, I'd show you. Get it on time? Okay.
We're good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, it was so nice talking to you all. I hope you took 1 point out of all of my talking, at least, to take home with you. But if you ever need anything, please reach out. I know that I get a lot of messages on the Miss Tennessee Volunteer Instagram just about career choices, what you should do in life. Hey, I'm having a bad day, like things like that. I love to reach out to you all because it's not easy. It is not easy being this age. So definitely reach out if you need anything. But thank you all, and I think I'm going to take a few pictures. But other than that, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's almost the end of the semester. Woo. So I'm glad it's almost the end of the semester. I'm exhausted from school myself. But yeah, it was so nice meeting you all. Thank you for having me.